Hello, fellow Earthlings. It's nice to see you again. Hope you're doing okay. I know right now is a bit troubling, and there's some stresses we haven't really considered before, and they're now becoming kind of normal because we've all been in lockdown for quite a while. I'm not enjoying it, but it feels like the last year and a half I have been in lockdown, and somehow I still have my sanity to a point, you know. Been kind of having those conversations with myself a little bit, and I'm answering myself. But, you do what you have to do to survive. Laughter has been my best friend. And if I can do any kind of recommendation, it is go on YouTube, find some comedians, and let the laughter therapy commence. Please do that. It will help you so much. You have no idea. Now, I'm going to start talking about some things that I experienced in England. One thing, and this was something that my girlfriend came up with, that she told me about, that I had never heard of before I moved here. And it's called a banoffee pie. Now, a banoffee pie is bananas and toffee of some kind, and they're mixed into and create a pie. And it is by far one of the coolest combinations I've had, because growing up in America, you'll have like peanut butter and jam, or you'll have chocolate and peanut butter because they go really well together, or apple pie and vanilla ice cream. They go, and it's really nice. Or have banana pudding, which I, of course, call Nana pudding, and I don't make it very often because, I don't really eat a lot of sweets, and I don't really eat a lot, honestly. I know you're looking at me going, but you look overweight. I know. And maybe at some point I will show you what I actually eat so you can come to your own conclusions. But I have a low functioning thyroid. And it plays a part. However, banoffee pie. My girlfriend was determined to show me what it was all about, and she didn't want to buy the ones in the store because, as we all know, when you buy it in the store, generally speaking, it has a very high rate of potential failure for taste. So she went to her work, and they have something in her work called a canteen. And I guess that would be like the lunchroom or the lunch line at a workplace in America. So they just call it a canteen here. A little different. But you get the gist, like when you're in the military, you call it the chow hall or the mess hall, more appropriate, I think. But yeah, so she went into her canteen and asked them if they could make her a whole banoffee pie. And then she decided to bring it home to let me try it. I thought, okay, cool. So I tried it, and Americans are kind of missing out. If they have not discovered this yet, you should introduce them to this. Banoffee pie is really good. It's one of those hidden gems. When you go to an English grocery store, you can tell where the priorities are. You have so many aisles dedicated to sweets, chocolate, biscuits, or i.e. cookies to most Americans. And then you have a whole aisle dedicated to cakes and, like those mini cakes. They're almost like Little Debbie's, but not quite. But they have all different kinds. And then, of course, they have the cakes that are made with, say, like a Cadbury logo. So you know that it's akin to that. And I'd never really tried any of those. Like I said, I'm not a huge sweets fan. My favorite treat, honestly, and you might, because you see, I'm diabetic. And I take pills to manage it. And, well, I have to be very careful about what I eat. And if I want something sweet, then I really got to be careful. So, one thing that I like is I have vanilla soy milk. And I love frozen strawberries, frozen raspberries, frozen berries in general. I'm just a berry nut. I'm berry nutty. Ooh. But usually when I have enough money, I will buy a few bags of frozen strawberries. And I have this little container, and I'll put a whole bunch of the strawberries in the container, and then I pour vanilla soy milk on top of it. And what I do is I just then cover it up and I put it in the freezer. And I let it get really, really cold and nice and frozen. And what happens is, once it's reached that point, if I haven't disturbed it before then, because I've been known to do that, I'm impatient, you get like kind of a block of strawberries and cream kind of tasting stuff, and it's really nice. Well, I use a spoon, and I will scrape at that stuff until I get a spoonful, and then I just keep doing that. So in a way, it's kind of like a workout to get something sweet. And the amount of sugar in it is much better than you would get for, say, like a diabetic treat in the grocery store. And you don't get all that processed food involvement, which, I prefer. I like it better that way. But that's my favorite, sweet treat at the moment. And, I tend to run really hot, so I'm always a little bit too warm, and it can make for really uncomfortable cuddling. I love cuddling, but I can't do it for very long. Although when it gets really cold, guess who is all of a sudden the human heater? And so the myth of just the girl doing the whole putting her cold little bits and bobs everywhere, you're warm. Well, I'm the one that has that happen to. And it's okay. I don't mind. I get it. She gets cold and I'm the heater, so it works out. Okay. Now, the second thing that I came across, and when I lived in America, we would always call our names first and last. Rather to the point, you knew what you were getting into, and it made sense. So, when I was asked, "May I have your surname, please?" the first time, I think the look I gave them was something like this. What is a surname? And she looked at me as if I were a little crazy. I get it. And eventually I learned, oh, that's your last name. Okay, got it. Cool. So I've overcome that part. I understand surname and its applications. The part where I still make mistakes, though, is the date. Because in America, it's usually the month, the day, the year. Here, it's the day, the month, the year. So there have been some times where I have screwed that up, and it's interesting. I'll just put it that way. But you adapt, and it takes time, and you're not going to get everything within the first couple of months or even the first year. You're still going to be learning things when you move to England, and I found it fun, really. I mean, the other universal truth about moving to another country is no matter where you go, you will always find people that fit a certain archetype. And what I mean by that is you will always find people that are jerks. I could use a stronger word, but I don't really want to do that right now. And so you can't really avoid them. So yeah, I picked up on surname, no problem. And the dates, I'm getting that. Occasionally I still mess up, but it's okay. I'll get better at it. Just like hopefully I can get better at this, because I really enjoy expressing myself and sharing my experiences, and it's fun, really. Now, okay, the third experience I can talk about is living here. I've had a particular experience with Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, they have every right to their faith. That's fine. I'm not judging that. I'm not saying you can't believe what you believe. Do that. If it gives you comfort, do that. Where I have a problem is when you will knock on my door and barge in and think that you can somehow change my mind and make me an adherent to your dogma. That's not going to happen. I have my own way, and it's definitely not that. But when I lived in America, I was approached at least once or twice a week to join a church, to accept Jesus, and there were so many times when people would do that, and it got rather monotonous, and my reply usually ended up being yes. Whenever they would ask if I had accepted Jesus, etc., yes, I have. It would make them take a moment's pause because they would look almost deflated, as if, well, oh, so you have. Well, I don't know what else to say, almost. It was like I took the wind out from their sails. I didn't intend to, but I just think if you believe in something and it brings you comfort and security and purpose, okay, but it's not like that for everybody, you know? So yeah, that's one thing I definitely don't miss, because having lived here since 2011 now, I can tell you I've only had 2 encounters with religion. One time there was a young man, couldn't have been more than 15, in a group at an art gallery. One of my friends was an artist there, and I was really proud of them, by the way. They did a good job. But he approached me, and he asked me if I wasn't Christian, then what did I believe, and why didn't I believe in the same thing that he did. And I had to try to answer that. And then I considered it a moment, and I thought, well, wait a minute. I don't really have to explain myself to you. I'm not asking you to explain yourself to me. You just believe as you do. So I went with that answer, because everybody has the right to believe or not. And the sooner people understand that sentiment right there and stop pushing their dogma on society and then trying to condemn them and damn them for not following it, is not right. It's not right. If somebody wants to follow in your footsteps, they'll find the path and they'll follow, and that's not a problem. But the old adage of you can bring a horse to water but you cannot make them drink follows quite closely to trying to convert somebody. You can bring them all the way up to the spring, but you can't make them do it. Same thing. And so yeah, the second time I ran across some Jehovah's Witnesses, they were standing outside, because see, I live in a flat, and then over there are some stairs that go up to the front door. Well, they had gone up that way, and they had buzzed the door, so I answered, and they started talking about, Jehovah's Witnesses. So I very slowly, after I tried to explain that I wasn't interested, they continued to talk. So I hung up the phone, and I went to the sliding glass door. I opened it, and I said, please don't contact me anymore. I'm not interested. I'm sure there are other people that are, but I've already told you I'm not interested. Please try to understand and respect that. I haven't heard from them since, and that's really refreshing, because when you live in America, they don't seem to respect those boundaries at all. Now, I understand that my perspective is smaller than some people, and there are exceptions, But in my personal experience, I didn't have any Jehovah's Witnesses that had respected my feelings and not come back. They always came back. So that was nice, It was nice to have that. And I would say one of the other things that I've noticed here is when it comes to politics, I tend to think most politicians, all of them, are cut from the same cloth. They have their own way of speaking. They have their own way of getting away with things. And, okay, fine. But what they don't do here, and they do in America, is quite a stark contrast. In America, it says that there should be a line between church and state, but there isn't. When you watch enough American politics, you can't help but notice the overwhelming abundance of politicians trying to out-God each other. You just can't help but notice it. It's ridiculous. It's everywhere. And they seem to think that that's going to redeem them of every bad thing that they've done. Oh, well, I go to church on Sunday. Well, that doesn't really change the fact that you did what you did. Because there's so many of them that are just so guilty of things, and I don't know how they think that that's going to help them. But okay, I'm putting a pillow behind my back. My back needs support. But, for instance, Mr. Cruz, what a charming figure. Please feel my sarcasm. Oh, please. Because, my gosh, that guy, wow. Anyway, now, I can say that overall, living in America is, it's very different from here. Because we're so accustomed to things being bigger. And I will probably bring this topic up much more often, but when I look at the size of the parking places here, our cars, most of them, would not fit. And when you look at the garage, that's how they say it here, the garage, your little SUV won't fit. Your pickup truck, no way. It's like the cars they have here are they're more scaled down, and my opinion is this: they're not driving their cars, they're aiming them. And you can giggle. That's what I was trying to get you to do anyway. But, yeah, so I think that England is a hidden gem, and if you get an opportunity, you should always leave the place that you spent your whole life, go out into the world, and see how it works. Because you will surprise yourself. I have lived in 13 different countries, and I would say just about as many states in the U.S. And you know what? All it did was broaden my horizon and help me see just how similar we all are. We're not that different, We're not. We might look different. We might eat maybe different food, but we're all in this together, really. Because what you do affects other people. And so you have to be a little more conscientious. And that's what I really hope people will do, is think about things before they do them. Or think about what you're saying before you actually say it, and make sure you're not going to hurt someone. That's my hope in life anyway. And I hope that I never hurt someone with my YouTube videos. I want to be a source of something positive and something real, someone you can go to and that I'm not putting up a front, because I do have a little bit more to say. I saw a video today, and it was 2 young men pretending to have cancer. And I can't think of much worse than that. It's just reprehensible. And I live with several chronic disorders, issues, however you want to look at it. Pain, lots of pain throughout my body, but to lie about something like that in order to elicit an emotional response in your viewer and to try to obtain some followers and some clout is just, some people might say that, oh, it was genius, it was smart, but really it's pathetic, and there's other ways of going about it. I mean, I have 41 subscribers, and I am so happy to have each and every one of you. I'm so happy. You know, I mean, it means the world to me to be able to share things with you guys and know that you're enjoying it. I mean, thank you. Seriously, thank you. And I'm just going to do my very best to be a genuine person, and I hope in time that you'll get to know more of me. And I don't know, maybe we can do some things together. Because there are some YouTube channel creators that I've been watching, and I think they're amazing. There's a gentleman called Leon Lush, and I love his videos. He has been making me giggle and laugh for months now. There's another one called Fluffy, and it's not Fluffy the comedian. He's great too, but his name's Fluffy, and he does videos about, like you're doing Walmart wrong, and he's just brilliant, really funny guy. And I'm just at the moment trying to figure out what kind of video editing equipment I should invest in, so that way I can get a little bit better at this. But until that time, I wanted to say thank you very much for tuning in. And if you can please hit subscribe, I would appreciate it so much. And you could subscribe and get all my alerts. I am trying to do at least 1 to 2 videos a week. If I do more, then cool. If I don't, well, I didn't hit my goal, but I'm going to try my best. And I hope that this finds you happy and healthy, and just try to stay calm and try to focus on something positive to just keep getting through this hard time. All right. Thank you so much. You guys take care.